Happy Friday, practical physics students. This is Miss Johnson speaking. I'm going to go through a process for taking notes. We're going to start with the motion chapter in our book. And I usually do this in class, but since we're on an online day, we're going to do it this way. So in Schoology, click on this textbook link here. And let's try it again. And it will come up to this screen. You need to click on the login. Then you need to click on the enter the password, which you can see appears Practic 17. And then the password is Newton. Make sure you use the capital N, 9.8, and then sign in. Click on open book, and you got one more click to go. Click on click here. And after a little while, hopefully it'll load. So here's the cover of our book. The fastest way to start is go to the page that I've told you to go to on our daily schedule, which is page 46. So I'm typing that in the page spot, press return, and here is our linear motion chapter. There's actually 4 sections to it. This is just kind of the introductory page, which is always a good one to read through to get an idea of what the chapter is going to be about. Sometimes there's an activity here. We're actually going to probably do this one a little bit later, so don't worry about that one. Then go to the next page. You are going to take notes on section 4.1 through 4.4. I'm going to suggest that you either do it in your notebooks or you can create a Google Doc. So what I'm going to do in my drive is I'm going to create a new Google Doc to take notes. I'm going to title this one Chapter 4.1. Whoops, wrong spot. Let's go back up here. It disappeared. Chapter 4.1 to 4.4 notes. If you do this in your own notebook using a paper pen thing, I would title the same thing. So since we're starting with chapter 4.1, I'm going to do an underline here, go chapter 4.1. And what was the title of that again? Well, let's go back to the book. And somehow we lost the page, so I'm going to click there. Easy fix. Go back to page 46. It's probably on another tab. And then click forward. So 4.1 is motion is relative. So I'm going to go back here and call this motion is relative. We are now going to go back to the book, and I don't know why it's not working very well for me right here. We'll just keep doing this. We were on page 47. So now you're going to read through 4.1, and it's only on this one page, which is going to make it easy. So let's read through the first paragraph. Everything moves. Even things that appear to be at rest move. They move with respect to the sun and stars. When we describe the motion of one object with respect to another, we say that the object is moving relative to the other object. A book that is at rest relative to the table it lies on is moving at about 30 kilometers per second relative to the sun. The book moves even faster relative to the center of our galaxy. When we discuss the motion of something, we describe its motion relative to something else. An object is moving if its position relative to a fixed point is changing. When we say that a space shuttle moves at 8 kilometers per second, we mean its movement relative to Earth below. When we say a racing car in the Indy 500 reaches a speed of 300 kilometers per hour, of course, we mean relative to the track. Unless stated otherwise, when we discuss the speeds of things in our environment, we mean speed with respect to the surface of Earth, even though Earth moves around the sun, as shown in figure 4.1, motion is relative. And figure 4.1 is at the top. There's the sun, there's the earth moving around it. So now we want to take a few notes. And usually I expect you're taking a minimum of 3 things. You may have more things in some cases, like up to 5 or 6. So if we go back to the beginning of this, everything moves. Even things that appear to be at rest move. I think that's pretty important. So let's go back to our Google Doc, and I'm going to try it. Let's see. That's not going to work. Well, let's go this way. I'm going back to my Google Doc. I'm going to say, and you might want to paraphrase this, objects, whoops, I kept the underline in there. Let's get rid of that. Objects that are at rest are moving. Now you don't have to make these sentences make sense. If you make spelling errors, typos, don't worry about it. These are your notes. Now when we go back to the book, once again I'm not doing very well tonight. We'll go back to page 47. We continue. So they move with respect to the sun and the stars. When we describe the motion with respect to another, we say that object is moving relative to the other object. So here this book that was at rest is moving actually at about 30 kilometers per second relative to the sun. Ooh, that's kind of cool. I think I'm going to add that to my notes. So a book at rest moves at 30 kilometers per second compared to, and compared is like relative, or maybe we want to say in relationship or in relation to the sun. So however you want to say that. Now let's go back to our book. And as we're going again, back to page 47, this thing in bold might be kind of important. An object is moving if its position relative to a fixed point is changing. So we have to decide what that fixed point is. And if the object is moving, then it's something that's changing. So somehow we have to say that one. You might want to do that one word for word. That's up to you. So an object is moving if its position is changing compared to a fixed point. You may have another way to say that. I think that's pretty good. And then back to our book, which of course I have screwed up and am not doing this very well. So now there were some other words below there. What you might find interesting here, I think the next important thing to me is that when we discuss speeds of things in our environment, we mean speed with respect to the earth. So when we talk about speed, it is with respect to the earth. And that's probably good enough for notes for this part. So now we're going to go on to chapter 4.2, which is about speed. So notice I've now underlined that kind of as a topic thing. Probably want to do that if you're doing in your notebooks and with a pencil or a pen. And once again, we'll go back to our book. Page 47. Page 47. Whoops. If you screw up, you just do it again. Hit return. So this was 4.1 as we scroll down. Now if we go forward to 4.8, there's 4.2, or excuse me, page 48. So now you read this and pick out 2 to 3 things. So get started on these notes today. These aren't going to be due till next week, Tuesday, so that if you have questions about some of the things on Monday, we can do that. So let me know if there's anything that you need help with, and I will see you on Monday.